Hi guys, how is everybody today? I'm doing pretty darn okay. Quick announcement out of the way first. I don't think that I'll be able to do a video in the next 2 weeks because I have this provincial event that I have to do over the next 2 weekends, and that's going to be taking up a lot of my time. So I wouldn't expect another video in the next couple of weeks. I think this will be my last one until after June the 4th. So I hope that's okay. It's going to have to be okay because this time of year is kind of really ramping up with some specific stuff at my work. And I am no expert with the whole video stuff that, as you guys know. I'm trying to get the lighting okay in where I can film, but it's working really against me today. So I apologize for the lighting. I'll try to fix that if I can in the when I post this to YouTube. But I hope everybody is really okay. There's been a lot going on with me as per usual, and I'm stuttering today. Like this I think that it's a full moon eclipse is really like arfing with my speech for some reason. And you probably would think then, Kim, why are you doing a video? Well, I want to connect with you guys as much as I can, and with any free moment I have, that's what I want to do. And this video is going to be really casual. Just have my hair up, my glasses on, we're just going to talk because there have been certain things that have come up that I really want to share with you guys. I don't know how I'm going to start. How do I start this? Okay, so lately, in the past a week or even a little bit more, I've actually been drawn to using light language. And there are a lot of people out there that have put out this light language as a healing tool. And I was on a walk earlier, like I think it was last week, and I called in Archangel Michael, and I was like, look, because I was dealing with like some stressful situations and stuff, and I was like, look, if you could just point me in a direction where I felt like I needed to go deeper, not that I haven't been doing deeper already, but there was just like I needed something different because not a lot was fitting with my soul, my spirit, my energy. So I'm like, look, pal, like if you could just like point me in a direction that I could like use something that I would resonate with, that's not, maybe it's well known, but it's not well known to me. Maybe it would shift my energy into some sort of direction, right? So right after that, actually I think it was that day, I got a link to light language. And if you guys have been following me at all, I did when Owen decided to be born to Earth, that experience was huge for me, and I shared all of it on the blog with you guys. And Owen really struggled with separating from me because Owen was very connected to my spirit, my energy, and whenever I would go get a psychic reading or something, they would always say that there was this child attached to me, there was this boy attached to me, and they thought that I would actually be bringing the boy in, although I was done having children. And when I got to know Owen and the whole dynamic, that's when it clicked for me. Oh yeah, that's what they're talking about. So while Owen was hesitating to be born, it turned into like this really not dire situation, but kind of an emergency situation for the mother who was going to birth him. Simon came in, and Benjamin Cole was with me. He was kind of like, to use the English language, he was sort of like a doula, like a midwife, because I think he still does. I haven't talked to him about it recently, but he still works with birth and conception, right? So when Simon came in to the room, he was speaking light language to Owen, and I was already like really strung out at that point, right before Owen was born. I remember the week before Owen was born, I was like emotional and angry and fed up, and just, I had been feeling like I had been birthing something for hours and hours and hours. And any woman that has gone through the birthing process, like literally physically with a human being, just there comes a point where it's like, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. So I was at that point with Owen deciding to, he kind of, it was weird because he kind of birthed through me energetically to go, it was like I was used as like this gateway. And that might be really new age, but I'm here to talk to you guys like my whole truth. So when Simon started speaking light language, I had no idea. I didn't know what he was saying. Cole did. I just remember that I had to, like I was channeling it, like I was automatic writing it. But I had to stop typing on the computer, and I had to actually write it with pen and paper, the syllables. Even though they weren't words, I had to put in like the tones into a way that people would be able to read it as some sort of language. And that was my first ever experience with light language. And when I called in Archangel Michael last week, I can't remember, like time is just, it's so irrelevant. Anyway, if I say a time or a date or something, it's probably going to be screwed up. I was brought back to that moment with Simon and the light language. And I remember when Simon spoke to me right before Owen used me as the gateway to be born. I remember feeling calm, and I remember feeling like everything was going to be okay, because as Simon was speaking the light language, he took Owen from me, and he held him like any angel would if a spirit was like hesitating to be born, because they are so attached to their heavenly experience. So I decided to try and listen to light language and light codes. And short story about how it's worked with me. It's pretty much put me on my ass, if I'm going to be honest. That's why, like today, I'm not dressed up, my hair is up. It's really dug deep, and there are some codes that I was listening to that, how do I put this? And I'm sorry, my eyes are tracking because I have several energies with me who are supporting me talking about this, but I don't know. There was some that really dug deep to like bring me up, and then there were some that really just, it started like all these downloads, like boom, 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 download, and my eyes would flutter. Like when I'm in a really deep meditative state, my eyes really go like flutter, like I'm having a seizure or something, but I'm not having a seizure. And it was pretty much all the time. Like I would be staring out a window or something, and I would get a download, or I would be staring or walking the dog, and I would be getting a download, and my eyes would flutter. So I'm sharing this with you because there is potency in using light language as a healing tool now. Although you really have to be ready for it, because the effects are quite potent, and they were quite potent for me. The biggest effect that I felt right away was complete exhaustion. I was really, really tired, and I would look at myself in the mirror and I would look lifeless. Like my face was drawn, I was pale, no sparkle in my eyes, I wasn't sleeping, I had a lot of body aches. There was one night after I had done a meditation, and I tried to do these meditations in like 21-day sprints, so we'll see what happens. If it gets too intense, I might need to take a break. But I was laying in bed one night after I had done a meditation, and I literally felt like I was like swinging back and forth. And I don't know, this is probably too much information, but if anybody has had a really party night and they've drank a lot and they lay down and they have this sense of vertigo, like the room is spinning, that's kind of what it was like, but it was like more of like a rocking back and forth. And so I knew, and then I go sit in the hammock that I told you about that my husband bought me. I go sit in the hammock outside to really ground myself, and I could tell something with the light language was happening, because I would literally feel the hammock and my body just kind of bouncing like this, right? And usually like it's like a gentle swing with the hammock, but it was actually bouncing like that. So I could feel that this light language was really, really, really doing its job, because I kind of felt like, and I know that there's purpose to the stall, but at the same time, I kind of felt like, okay, there is a stall here, but there needs to be something added to what I'm already doing to take me the rest of the way. And that's why I was trying the light language. Also, with the light language, of course, we know that there are the aliens involved and the light beings, and it just so happened that I got a question about UFOs, and Rodrigo we were talking one night, and I'm trying to talk really fast so I can just get this out of the way, so maybe I can do some channeling, but we were talking one night, and apparently in my area there have been a lot of calls to the RCMP stations, which is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I think that's what it is the federal police force. Out in the small towns, I think there was calls in Sherwood Park and Idros and Fort Saskatchewan, I think, with people seeing UFOs in the sky. And I was kind of a shit about it. I was like, okay, so you're gonna call the cops. What are the cops gonna do? Like, what are the cops gonna do if to a UFO? Like, seriously, like, whatever. Anyway, the people are scared, right? But I think there is going to be more sightings, more connecting, more invitations from these light beings, to get people on board with, like the words that I have are bridging that gap together. They look at Earth as if it's this beautiful, exciting place, and they want to be a part of that with us. However, because there is so much fear regarding what's out there, what might they look like, what might they do to us, there's movies about these, spaceships coming to destroy the planet. They haven't been able to come visit or connect with a lot of people because of those fear-based beliefs. That time is over, I believe, is what I'm hearing. That won't happen anymore. If anything, the one thing that would destroy the planet are the people who are refusing to wake up and try to keep control of these darker energies on this earth. And I don't like to get into conspiracy about this kind of stuff, because it's really prevalent. I do work with light beings. I would consider Simon a light being. I would consider my celestial mother and father light beings. I would consider Tabby a light being. Riker, not so much, but he is a light being. My beginnings were based on a planet that no longer exists. So if I were to consider my celestial lineage, I would be a light being. I'm in human form right now, but my celestial lineage, they're getting excited because I'm talking about it. My celestial lineage, like star seeds around this planet, if we could consider ourselves not so much star seed, but also a light being, does that make connecting with the light beings better or worse, right? If they talked about human beings as we talked about them, we would be alien to them, right? So this is going to be coming up a lot. They're giving me a timeline of 2030. 2030 is when it's actually, they're saying community effort meaning us reaching out to them reaching out to us, not so much earth-based, but now we're talking about a cosmic alliance. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. But we don't necessarily need to sit and wait until 2030 to make that happen. We can actually extend the invitation to these beings now to connect with us on an appropriate level that will say, yeah, it's okay, I'm ready to work with you. Anton and Simon with one of the channels put out a call to Andromedan star seeds. There have been called Arcturian. There's a lot of Arcturian. There's a lot of Syrian. There's a lot of Pleiadian. There's a lot of Lyrian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They're saying Venetian. They're talking about the Hathors, although I think that was in existence on Earth, but I can't be sure. Okay, they're talking about beings that exist within the Earth, but not existing in the Earth as it is. There's other realms and dimensions within the Earth. So don't think of it like you're tunneling through the Earth and all of a sudden you see this city without a sky or anything. They're saying if you were invited to tunnel through the Earth, you'd see a city of crystal with a sky. Wow, that's actually really cool. Oh, okay, so these cities within the Earth are actually, this is where the crystals are being pushed up to be, and I hate this word, mined. They're using mined, but I don't like that word. Cultivated, harvested. So these crystals are actually being pushed up from these places within the Earth in different realms. Their cities are made of crystals, and they're gifting us their crystals to get in touch with the realms and dimensions within the Earth itself. That sounds really effed up, but I'm just translating what I'm seeing and hearing. Okay, I have with me, they're very tall, they're wearing white. They don't shine, but they are very pale. How would I describe you? They have these white kind of cloak with large hoods in the back. They have kind of like white hair that's going like this and down the back. There's an elder that's talking to me. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera because I'm looking at what they're showing me. There's an elder speaking with me, and he's got like crystal. He says that I can't look at him if I'm looking at the camera, so I apologize if my eyes are tracking downward and through. He says it's because I have to look through my dimension to see what he looks like. So I'm looking through a piece of air, I guess you could say. So I apologize that my eyes aren't on the camera. Anyway, so yeah, he's got this hair. He's got, his eyes are very almond shaped, and they're like a very deep, shiny blue. He's saying that's where, he's saying his eyes are the color of lapis lazuli, a crystal, because he's saying that's where the lapis lazuli came from, is where they exist under the earth. This is really shocking to me because I wasn't expecting this. I was actually expecting Anton to come in, but this is okay, we'll go with it. He wants to make it, he's not speaking English to me. He's giving me light codes that I'm supposed to translate, and this is the first time I've ever done this. So he's saying that any crystal that is harvested on the globe is actually a crystal that has come up from the interdimensions within our planet that these cities are made of. And I've said this before to some people, that there are some crystals that are being taken away from this planet because he's saying that they're tired. And as they remove the crystals from this planet that are tired, there are more that are coming up and taking their place. Okay. He's saying that what people believe are over harvested or over mined crystals, he would like to say that they have not been. He says, while the earth has been destroyed to harvest these crystals that are tired, he says that many of them have now been taken up to retire, and others are being like he keeps raised in its place. He's saying you must be invited to the realms within the earth, to the crystal cities within the earth. We have known what has happened with the power of crystals through Atlantis. And he's saying he does not wish for that to be repeated again. Okay, so apparently this guy has talked to me before, but he has never shown his face, and I've channeled him without even knowing. So what he just told me. Okay, so he's showing me actually a gardener who's planting seeds. He's showing me that there have been some people who have, so I've talked about this before, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating it to people who've watched, but there have been people who have taken his advice and planted crystals. So they brought crystals from one area of the earth that felt really amazing. Oh, okay. He's saying they asked the crystal permission first before they took it to where they live, and they've planted these tiny pieces of crystal in their area to plant the energy of how they felt in one area of earth to another area of earth. And it's almost like okay, when you plant potatoes and when you harvest potatoes, you plant one potato, right? But then when you harvest it, it's like all these potatoes, you're unearthing all these potatoes from this one plant. And he's saying that the people that have planted the crystals from places that they have brought, after asking the crystal permission, they have multiplied. And if you were to go back to see, he's saying not like potatoes, but you might see 2 or 3 crystals instead of just 1. That's super cool. He's like the rumor or the story about taking a piece of lava from Hawaii and then being cursed or having bad luck. He's saying that is a true thing because he's just saying her Pele, goddess, Pele, something. He does not like to call a goddess by her name because she is more than the name that a human has given her. So the goddess there does not wish for her home to be taken apart and moved to different places of the world. She has not given permission for that. So if people were to take a piece of lava from a certain place in Hawaii, that is a no-no. He's like, you need to send that back. He's saying it is very, very important for anybody who wishes to harvest or to, he's saying gain a crystal. Is it buy? To purchase, he's saying to purchase or sell a crystal, it is imperative now that you receive the blessing of that crystal. He's saying crystals for a time have been very patient with human beings, and they still are very patient with human beings, but they would like to be respected enough to have the permission to be bought and sold. Oh my God, what? Oh, that's just heartbreaking. He's comparing crystals to human beings being bought and sold, and he knows it's extreme, but it's a comparison that would actually make you stop and think and stop and consider what he's saying. He's saying as much as crystals have become part of homes or being used to build with, it was always a situation of working together. He's saying that his people actually allowed the crystal to form structures that they were at peace moving into as is. He's saying that the crystals now that give themselves in to replace the ones that have retired, they do that generously as they have given themselves generously to his people where he dwells. And it's a cooperation and not a buy-sell ownership. He says he realizes that people have created livelihoods with the buying and selling. He's saying that is respected and honored. However, now that relationship must go deeper. He's saying that if one were to cultivate a relationship by asking a crystal as an energetic being what Sorry, I had to pause there. I was getting a phone call. He's saying that if one was to ask a crystal, like have that communication with a crystal back and forth, that is, because they are energetic beings, that is one step towards cultivating a relationship with the beings that guard over these crystals. He's saying that each and every crystal has an energetic being that stands guard over them. He's saying just as a piece of grass has a fairy looking after it, so too does a crystal have angels or light beings looking after that. So connecting with a certain type of crystal is also connecting to the light being of its origin. He's saying that there are some crystals that have origins from space, and there are some crystals that have origins from Earth. However, because of the dimensions within the planet, you could consider them having origins from the cosmos as well. He's saying that the realms of Earth, how do I explain this? He's saying that the realms and dimensions that live within the Earth have also celestial and star lineages. This is hard. He's kind of saying that, like people who are planting crystals from one area to another, so they were planted from the cosmos to the interdimensions of Earth. He's saying that their lineages are usually from planets that do not exist any longer because they weren't destroyed, but it's like there's always an ending, there's always a change of form. So where one planet begins, another ends, and then when his planet ended, his beginning was in the realms and dimensions of inner Earth. And he's apologizing to me because he knows that he caught me off guard. And I'm telling him it's okay, and I'm asking him, I hope that I'm giving the message appropriately, and he's saying that yes, I am giving the message appropriately. He's like I snuck in here because it was time. Okay. People walking along the earth and feeling the vibration through their feet. It's almost like the bottom of your feet will have, like, if you've ever felt an electrical current, it's kind of like that on the bottom of your feet. And he's saying that if there are people who are walking and feel an electrical buzz along the soles of their feet, he's saying that is a sign that this person is meant to connect with the inner realms and dimensions of the earth plane, than they are reaching for the cosmos. He says that there are people that equate. He's saying it's very unbalanced. He's saying that people don't give enough. Like, there's a lot of sorry guys, this is really different. He's saying that there's a lot of imbalance. Like, people would prefer to reach up and out into the cosmos to connect to light beings when there are multitude of dimensions within the earth that are willing to connect with people as well. People give a lot of attention to Shasta, and they give a lot of attention to the pyramids in Egypt or in South America. And that's because they dwell in there. Okay. There is places in interior BC and up north, and then, okay, show me a map. So he's showing me interior BC. So you go south and you go down through, I don't know if that's Montana or Oregon. Down in there, there's many different dimensions within that mountain range, and people who hike there and feel the electrical current along the bottom of their feet are connecting to those worlds there. And he's saying that if you were to find a crystal there, it is a sure sign that it has been left for you as a sign to begin to connect within the earth plane. He's saying that as much as there's fantasy with the cosmos when you look up at the stars, he said he would urge you to connect with the workings of Tolkien and Verne. He's saying Jules Verne, to give yourself some sort of map or idea about the inner dimensions and worlds of Earth. Oh, I'm like out of breath. I have like a water bottle with me, and like every time my timer goes off because I'm using that app, I have to take a swig of water because he's like big time energy. Okay, so there's celestial lineages, and then there's he's saying inner earth dimensions, lineages. Sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Okay, so there's celestial lineages, and then there's inner earth lineages. And the inner earth lineages will open up after people have gotten rid of their hesitation and fear with the cosmic celestial lineages. Why is that the last to open up? Okay, he's saying it's because it's easier to believe in celestial ETs than it is to believe in inner earth ETs. So I'm asking him about the fairy realms, like the elementals, and he's saying no, that's not part of. And he's specifically talking about his people, although there's a lot of people that are living in these realms and dimensions of inner earth. There's a lot of societies, like people would look at Pleiadians, Syrians, Andromedans, stuff like that, like those separate planets. He's saying that also exists on the inner earth plane, but he's kind of just talking about, because he cannot speak for the other communities, and he calls them communities down there. And now it completely fell out of my brain what I was gonna say. Anyway, whatever. Okay, yeah, so I had to stop it because he's like, I'm having trouble sort of translating what he's saying, and he stopped when I was talking about fairy realms because he says he apologizes because he wanted to get an example that I would understand. So there's like, people think like of triangles, right? And so the highest people are on top, and then the lowest are on the bottom. And this is strictly an example, and he doesn't believe in high-low, everybody's equal, but it's the human perception of how they think of a triangle. So the humans are down here, and then they think of the triangle to go up top, right? But if you were to put another triangle on the bottom, right? So the fairies would be here, right? And again, this is not like a level thing, it's just a picture thing. So, and then he's down at the point, his people are down at the point, right? And so, okay, he's showing me a 5-pointed star, and he's saying that it shifts all the time, right? And it's not a 5-pointed star like friggin' Satan. Like, get that idea out of your head right now. If anybody's thinking that, get it out of your head. You've heard it from me. It's just that the 5-pointed star, it gets shifted. So a point is always, whatever is contained in that point is shifted. So they all kind of shift. And he's saying that if you were to look at Earth as a 5-pointed star, every shift every shift is going into a new age, right? Every point. It doesn't mean that every point is going like pointing down, right? Okay, he's saying if points are pointing down, it means that that those inner realms and dimensions of Earth are actually opening up. Oh my god, this is like crazy. And my dog's here, she just woke up from a nap. And he's chuckling at me. He's very nice. He's making me talk really fast. I have all this like energy in my belly and in my solar plexus, and okay, he's saying as much as there's downloads from people or from the cosmos, like, so people think that the downloads come in from the crown chakra and they go through, right? So as much as there's downloads that come through the crown chakra, there are uploads that come through the root chakra, right? And where's the meeting place? The meeting place is in the heart. Okay, that's a very important thing. This is so cool. This is kind of like new information for me because I don't usually like go into this. Yeah, he's like these people that are really into like Tolkien and stuff and Lord of the Rings and the Jules Verne people, and I don't even remember what it's called. It's like this way of fashion that's like Vernians or whatever they call themselves. I don't know. But they are so connected to the inner dimensions and realms of Earth. This is so cool. It's like, this is exactly what I was needing. It's like this boost of new information, right? This is super cool. Do you want to come in front of the camera and say hi to the people? No? She's like looking at me. So yeah, and he's saying to think that this all started with a conversation about crystals. And he's saying that what we're talking about is actually glimpsing into how huge a crystal is. He's saying people look up to the sky, the night sky, to see the stars while meditating and holding a crystal. But if you look down at the crystal, you are holding a star of Earth. Wow. He's saying if you were to look down at the crystal you're holding a star of Earth. How incredibly amazing is that? That is so super cool. He's like, yeah, I knew you'd probably like that. He's just like, I wouldn't call this guy like holy or like angelic. I would call him very grounded, but at the same time, like he's not like luminescent by any means. He's laughing at me. Ooh. Monkish. He's very like this. I'm asking him, actually, it's a very human question. I'm asking him if he has families, like if they're like children, just to kind of get a sense. And he says there are families. Everything has some sort of community, and if you want to call it family, he says you can call it family. There are female male aspects to his kind, and yes, there are unions that produce children, and it's the whole family cycle, he says. He says it's he says it's pretty typical of his kind, but you don't always get that kind of thing in the cosmos. He says that there is form to them, although you would only be able to see their form if you were on their wavelength, or if they decided to come and speak just as he's speaking to me. He's saying that if you were to only reach out into the cosmos and try to connect to light beings in the cosmos, they will not always have form, which can be very confusing to people, because people like the idea of form because it resonates with the human perception of like beings or people, and it's easier for humans to understand them if they have some sort of form. Excuse me. He says many of the cosmic beings choose to come with form when they come to Earth. However, if a human being were to go to where they are in the cosmos, the human being would not see form. The human being, if going up into space and being able to travel through realms and dimensions in space, they would see more as if they were surrounded by light. And if they were on the same vibration, they would be able to see cities and structures and people within the light. He's saying, but the forms in the cosmos will not present themselves as like a humanoid form unless they need to get your attention. It's all about the invitation with anything out there. He says he doesn't talk about all humans, but he says sadly many humans expect a one way, and if it's not a one way, it's something to fear. So if a human being is reaching out into the cosmos to connect, or reaching into the inner realms and dimensions, they have to be able to open their minds enough to be able to fathom what else could be out there or in there. Okay, there are some crystals that people are going to be finding that are actually keys to go. It's like, okay, he's saying no, not keys. He's changing his mind. He says, if you see the crystal, it's an invitation to go explore. He's saying that people are more than welcome to explore the mountain ranges, but the doorways will be in unexpected places. He's giving kind of an example of mountain climbers who fall through crevices, and in the movies they make it like really scary, like you don't know how far you're gonna fall. However, there have been hikers who have never been seen or heard from again who have fallen through these crevices in the mountains, who are, he's saying, who are perfectly safe. They haven't, this is going to sound really bad, they haven't been kidnapped by anything, because that's the perception that people are going to be friggin' hijacked by aliens, right? But these hikers have fallen through these crevices to their death. However, because they have fallen, and this is going to be really hippy dippy for you guys, this is going to be like really new age, but because they have fallen at a certain speed, they were able to cross a dimension, and they cannot get back to our dimension, so they have become part of that dimension. He's saying it's kind of like how somebody would die, lose their physical body, and be brought to heaven as another existence. So he doesn't want people to think that if you go walking through the mountains you're going to be kidnapped. No, these people, the perception is that they have passed away or lost their physical form. However, they've just kind of crossed through dimensions, and now they're in a form there. And he acknowledges that this is difficult for me to say because it's really different, and he doesn't want people to have the perception that these people are being kidnapped by those that live in mountains. He's saying that there have been stories of people who have gone to Shasta and hiked and have disappeared for a time, but that was always supposed to happen. It was meant to happen because these people who have disappeared for a time in Shasta were actually part of the lineage of those people within those inner dimensions or inner worlds of Earth, and they were able to come back and share their story. However, a lot of them never wanted to come back because the inner realms and dimensions of inner Earth are like the planes of heaven. They actually mimic each other. He's saying, so he really wants to stress that if people are hiking through these places, they find a crystal, it's an invitation, you won't get kidnapped. It's kind of like, it's kind of like it has to be written in the Akash for it to happen. It's very, very, very specific. It's extremely specific. Okay. Yeah, he's saying that even... Okay, he's saying that there are underwater... So he's showing me like this clip of a video that I saw once about this UFO that just like dove into the water, like it was in the sky and then it dove into the water. That's actually them. Okay, he's saying that their lineage is Atlantean. There are Atlanteans that still exist down in the inner dimensions, realms of inner Earth. And he's saying those are more oceanic beings, and in really, really deep depths of the ocean, there are realms and dimensions of oceanic beings that have places still made with aquatic crystals where they dwell, and their lineage was that of Atlantis. Okay, he's saying they were the shapeshifters of Lemuria that came to Atlantis, and when Atlantis was destroyed, they were able to escape, but they didn't choose land. They chose to continue their life in the depths of the oceans. I have to take a moment. He's saying that while scuba divers find treasures of unknown origin in the depths of the ocean, he says, he's asking me, could you imagine what divers would find if they could go deeper? Okay, he's saying that because humans can't necessarily travel because of pressure in their human bodies to the depths that he's talking about, he's saying those worlds down there are less hidden than the worlds that people trek through on land. He would like to go back to the people who are transplanting crystals from one area of the earth where they feel really, really good to another place that they feel they need, like that needs that really, really nice energy. He doesn't know how to say it. He's saying that those people are actually taking that piece of that inner world and stretching that doorway from the place where they got the crystal to that place over there. He says sometimes they require humans who understand the workings of crystal and crystal matrices to broaden their dimension or their energy, take it and stretch it so they too can grow where they are. He's saying sometimes it takes a specific human being to he's like, oh, he's making me breathless. He's like, when cities grow bigger, it takes human beings to make that city grow bigger, right? So some of the jobs of human beings. They're actually incarnated energies of these beings in the inner realms of earth, and they will be attracted to crystals. And so they will take this crystal, they'll see a crystal, they'll be like, wow, this is an awesome crystal, can I take you and plant and bring your energy to where I am? So they'll take the energy, and they will, with that crystal, they will take that city and expand it all the way to where that person lives. Okay, and he's saying that is why the Hawaii, that is not meant to expand. That is almost like a dimension and world of its own. He's saying that especially with the mountain ranges, he's saying that that is meant to expand wider, because right now it's very narrow, and he needs these human people to take that energy of that crystal, because that's going from like point A and bringing it to a point B, right? So human beings do have value with the people in the inner worlds, and that's only coming up right now. Sorry, he's making me really breathless. That's only coming up now because it's time. He's saying 2030, when the cosmic light beings will be more and more involved in Earth, they too must prepare for that cooperation as well. And it's 2021, and he says actually there's not a lot of time for this to happen. And that's why he came in to talk about the energies of crystals, because when a person purchases a certain crystal, not all of them, a certain crystal, they are purchasing the privilege and the blessing to be able to expand these inner dimensions of these worlds within Earth. And he's saying what a privilege it is. He's saying, so as you can see, there is much care within a crystal, because in essence you are holding a lineage or a line or a world in the palm of your hand. And so there must be that cooperation, because you cannot, he says, you cannot buy or sell a star. So right now it's kind of the same with crystals. He understands the amazing beauty and what can be created from crystals. He wishes for people to just have a little bit more care, a little bit more love, a little bit more respect for what they have, because these certain crystals are pieces of life. He akins them to pieces of life because they are energy. Just as we are in this physical form, a crystal in the physical form, there is life in there. And he's saying that no life can be bought or sold. He's saying that the crystals that have been taken from the earth because they are tired, it's kind of like the five-pointed star that shifts. So everything's going to take its turn. So when it turns, it gets retired, it goes for a break, and then it's at one shift it's going to come back. He's saying in full power. The crystals that have been taken from the earth have kind of dulled a little bit because they've taken on a lot of the clearing. He's saying nothing or no one isn't susceptible to being tired, and he understands the whole cleansing and clearing of crystals, but he's saying that the whole cleansing and clearing of crystals will have optimum effect if the human being who's doing the cleansing and cleansing and clearing of the crystals is also cleanse and clear themselves. So whatever you do to cleanse and clear the crystal, you must do to yourself. It's not always the crystal that is responsible for the human being's healing. He wants to make it very clear that it's also the human being's responsibility to cleanse themselves and not fully rely on a crystal, because the crystal is more of a shared, now it's like a shared cooperation of healing, and not so much the crystal doing the work while the person just sits there and expects to be healed from one piece of being. Each crystal has their own Akash. He is very passionate about the life that a crystal is. So he's saying that every crystal has its own Akash, just like every tree, bug, animal, human being has their own Akash, their own lineage. So does a crystal. And he's saying that if a human being were to look at a crystal like they were holding a piece of somebody else's Akash, he's saying, like, how would you hold somebody's piece of Akash? How would you hold, if you were able to take somebody's piece of history in your hand, how powerful that is? How would you hold that? He's saying that the same goes for a piece of crystal. He understands people's wish for the bigger pieces because they are so beautiful and they do make a statement when people come around. And it seems like the bigger pieces are handled with more care than the little ones. The little ones, however, sometimes they require more care than the bigger pieces. Because he's saying that the smallest crystal has a lot of power. It's not getting like a bigger crystal is a better crystal. No, in fact, sometimes the smaller pieces of crystals actually work a lot harder, and so they actually need a little bit more care. So if you have tiny pieces of crystal, okay, he's saying treat them with a lot of care. He's saying that there's some crystals out there that people have and they will know they prefer silk. He says they prefer silk sheets. So he's just saying that now that I've spoken to this, and whoever would like to watch it, the message is for you to take care of what you have, because it really is a time of cooperation. Okay, he says his life or his existence depends on, like, he's housed in a world of crystal. So when human beings take advantage of the life of a crystal, that reverberates back to where he exists and they feel it. He's saying that they have felt more like, you know, when there's like an earthquake or something and people get a little nervous because they felt tremors, they get nervous because they feel tremors as well. However, their tremors are, and it's really difficult for me to talk about, their tremors are the tremors of abused energies, I want to say, things that are taken, that are being taken advantage of. The elementals, crystals are also part of the elementals. So if you consider that, like, every fairy guards a piece of grass, and every like every crystal has either a fairy, an angel, or a spirit guide with it as well. How you act towards the crystal is kind of how you're showing respect to the guardian of that crystal. So if people who are into crystals could keep that in mind, that would be really awesome. I have a large piece here of kyanite that I was gifted. Sometimes I use it quite a bit. It doesn't leave my bedside, it sleeps with me. I'm the type of person who has to really be feeling crystal energy. I really have to kind of be, I don't always resonate with the crystal energy, and I don't know why that is. I use them off and on. I very much respect crystal energy. I think it's just because I'm very uneducated on it and I don't know a lot about it. And so because I don't know a lot about it, I don't want to pretend that I do. And I kind of just don't go there, because I don't want to take a crystal and misuse it. Do you know what I mean? So I have shopped for pieces. I've been gifted an abundant amount of crystals, and they are very kept safe, but I have to be a willing participant in that energy exchange, or I just can't do it. And I think that it's better that if you can't find that medium with a crystal, that you just kind of pull back and you just wait until you're ready for that energy, because it is very specific and it is a relationship that takes the combined effort of both the crystal and the human being. And he's thanking me for saying that, because he's saying it's actually better to take a step back from the crystal energy if you really are unsure of how to use it, than actually using it. And he's saying he doesn't want to say using it and abusing it, but it's not so much abuse. Okay, it's disrespect. Whereas 20 years ago, these crystals weren't completely, what's the word? These crystals weren't really turned on because people weren't turned on. And again, it's that relationship between human and crystal, that if the human is awakening, that in turn awakens kind of the crystal. The crystal kind of lays dormant until it's woken up or programmed by the human that's using it. However, the crystals that are being unearthed now, they're already programmed. So if you see a new crystal, or if you hear of a new crystal kind, be ready, because it's already programmed. And it's kind of like using light language, what I was talking about in the way beginning of this video. It's kind of like light language. You really have to be ready to use it to what it's going to produce within you, how you're going to react, all that kind of stuff, because the crystals that are coming out now are very, very, very powerful. They're already programmed, and they're programmed in a way that is going to facilitate contact. I guess people like to call it contact. So is there anything else? No, he's saying that he said he needs to apologize to Anton because he didn't mean to hijack the this video. He knows Anton very well. Anton goes and visits him, and that's why he knows about me, and so that's why he came to visit me. He said he would like Anton to talk about, what was he going to talk about? He was healing with star energy, so that's going to be coming up. But like I said, I have to work in the next couple weekends at my job, so I won't be able to get another video out for a little bit. This is probably, again, a long one, so maybe it'll tide you guys over. He says he's very thankful to me for being so cooperative and helping him with this message. He's very protective of the crystal realms. And he doesn't want to come off like he's giving people shit or anything, but he would like to see people realize that just as you hold a whole human being when you hold their hand, he's saying you hold much more than you realize when you hold a piece of crystal. And it's not to be reverent or glorify or, you know, false gods or anything like that. He's just saying that it's a relationship. And if you're looking to be part of a relationship that it's just so deep and so, he's just saying there is a depth to relationships with crystals that people have not been aware of yet, but they will be aware of it. And this is just the starting point. And so he says, thank you for listening to him. He says he'll be on his way. He says, I'm sorry for taking the wind out of your sails, like he's saying about my being breathless and stuff. So I'm like, that's okay. And he says it's been an honor and he would like to come back, and I'm welcoming him back, and I hope that I've translated his words well. And he said, yeah, I translated what he needed me to translate, so that's good. And I was wondering why I was talking so fast. Like, holy, I was talking so fast through this whole video. But even though that he's very grounded and very peaceful and very monkish, his energy is really, really strong and really, really fast and just really, really, it's just electric, and it kind of like spikes, kind of like has sparks coming. That's how I can describe it. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope this video, like all the videos, there's something in it for you. This one was a little bit more hippie. This one was a little bit more new age. However, like if there's a being that would like to come in and speak, I am more than willing to help them out, and I consider it my job, and I absolutely love it. So if you guys have any questions, he's saying if you have any questions for him, please feel free to reach out. And you guys know where I live, so I hope you guys are all doing really, really well. It's been really, really nice here. Got my greenhouse up, my garden planted, all that good stuff, and now you just wait for the bounty, which is super exciting because I've never really gardened before, and it's my first time, and I hope I get something. So, and yeah, just total casual today again. I'm sorry about the light. I hope it was okay. And yeah, and I hope you guys have an incredible couple of weeks, and I hope to connect to you as soon as I am able to. I love you. I love you. I love you. Good luck with the full moon on Wednesday. It's a little bit of a slicer dicer, and yeah, that's it from me. So with that, I will give your ears a rest, and maybe you'll have to watch this a couple of times to see what I'm actually saying, because I'm speed talking and I'm still, his energy is still within me. I'm going to have a lot of water. So I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.